production.
Yo, what's poppin'? Let's break down some Palantir technologies here. So we're on the daily time frame and we're looking at this interesting stock, right? So remember this volatility back in 2020 and everyone was getting so excited, right? Kathy Wood's buying up shares with ARK and all that shit. And now it's real quiet, isn't it? I don't really see many people talking about PLTR. So now is when I want to start paying the most attention because people always flip, right? The market psychology plays a trick on us where everyone's talking about it up here, but no one's talking about it down here. And this is where the opportunity is going to be. So let's get into the technicals, right? We're on the daily and it looks like we want to break below this $6.62 here, right? So this is the trend line that's been holding us, right? Now, will it act as support come Monday morning? We really don't know, right? But what I'm thinking of is overall markets, right? We look at the Nasdaq, right? And if we go to the Nasdaq on the weekly time frame, we have a massive bearish engulfing. What does a bearish engulfing indicate? It indicates that we can go lower from here, right? So same thing that happened on the S&P, right? So Palantir falls into these categories like on the Nasdaq, right? So again, we look at the weekly time frame on Palantir and we get a nice bearish engulfing that engulfs 3 days, essentially 3 weeks essentially, right? So that's indicative that we could potentially be going lower, right? So let's look back here. Here's a bearish engulfing, right? We end up going lower. Another bearish engulfing. We go lower. We rally a bit. Another bearish engulfing. Another one, right? The bearish engulfing is a candlestick pattern that you look for to kind of give you an indication of where things can go next, right? So bullish engulfings indicate that we're going to go higher, right? Bullish engulfing here. What happened in the coming weeks? We started to continue higher. Bullish engulfing just covers one day, right? So you could look back and use that on any types of charts, right? Bullish engulfing here. It took a little bit while to regather, but we continued higher for a little rally. And this was from May to August 2022, right? So we don't know how much lower we're going to go, but if we're following the technicals here, the bearish engulfing is indicating that we have lower to go. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. In fact, if the Fed starts to pivot this week or we get bullish news this week, we can get a reaction to the upside here. But I don't want to get faked out, which is why as a trading opportunity, there's kind of two directions, right? But I'm leaning towards bearish after looking at the Nasdaq, the S&P, just overall price action, right? And keep in mind some of the things that could be coming in the next couple months. The Fed isn't really hinting that we're going to pause these rate hikes, right? So that could be a bearish outlook on the market. Inflation's continuing to rise. And that could be like a long period where we don't see it really flatten out, right? So I want to be aware of these things. If you're the type of person who's bullish long term, then I believe that dollar cost averaging at a rate that you could afford to lose is probably the smartest bet, not just for Palantir, but on any stock, period. So that is the breakdown for Palantir Technologies. I'll be keeping an update on it this week. We could potentially be looking for something like this where we get a drawdown and then we get the rally, right, where we test this trend line again, something like that. But keep in mind, this upper trend line it's keeping us back since this is 2021 January, right? So think about it, 2 years, and we still can't break over this trend line. When it happens, it'll be significant, and it will be a characteristic change on this stock. So it's something to pay attention to. I would highlight this on if you're like into charts and technical analysis. I do believe that this trend line is something you should have on your chart just to keep an eye out for. And again, look at the S&P, look at the Nasdaq. they also have this trend line that's just holding us back, right? Ethereum also has it. Bitcoin has one. Like, a lot of these trend lines have been holding us back, and I think that when we break up over it eventually, not many people are going to be paying attention. So I think it's important to have that signaled out on your chart just to be aware of it. Peace, guys. That's the breakdown.